Hey Acers, and welcome to this week's edition of the Ace Role-Playing Games Club weekly broadcast, basically, because these might as well be podcasts, and I realize that I'm going to try and loosen up a little bit more. I really am. I really do try and loosen up, just kind of get it all out there, because I kind of come across as kind of stiff in some of my other videos, and I'm really not that way, but I've also never really been that good at the delivery, unless I really rehearsed it. So I'm getting better. And for your betterment, and my betterment, and all the better that's out there, I wanted to refer back to something that happened in 2012 that was really interesting. And that was that Pinnacle Entertainment, which is the doing business as group of Great White Games, which is Shane Hensley's awesome, amazing company. Pinnacle, who puts out Savage Worlds, had not gotten 6 years in the future when they were going to put out the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition that we now all know and love. But they did do something that was really interesting. And I believe it was their first one. They did a Kickstarter for a Deadlands setting. Now, up to this point, Deadlands was what got Great White Games, Pinnacle Entertainment, going. Deadlands came out in 1998, and it has a very unique and intriguing card system. And it's really for character creation, and it has a Benny system that depends on the colors of the Bennies, things like that. It's really a unique and neat system, and there's still something to be said about playing Deadlands Classic. But as time went on, they did fast forward to like 2085 when Ghost Rock bombs, which if you've been around the channel long enough or anything, Ghost Rock, you remember, is a cursed material that the demons put into the ground that burns and shrieks like souls when it burns. But it burns longer and hotter than coal. It can be used to alloy metals. And it's very precious and very much desired. It's what fuels all of the weird science that happens in Deadlands. Well, they fast forwarded it to about 2085, and some Ghost Rock infused nuclear bombs get dropped, the whole world gets irradiated, and you get Deadlands Hell on Earth, which is a really cool post-apocalyptic setting. And they did reset that with the deluxe edition of Savage Worlds. And I believe they're going to be resetting it with the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Because the next thing coming up for Savage Worlds is the science fiction companion. Now, I already have my hard copy of the Superpowers companion and the fantasy companion. My hard copy for the horror companion should be coming soon. But I have to just say, as far as companions go, as far as giving you a solid setting in that type of a genre, holy cow. This is Savage Worlds and Pinnacle just keep stepping up their game. They are not my sponsor. I wish they were, but that's okay, because I have to say these guys are absolutely amazing, and they're someone that they love their fans, they love their community, and they love their creators who get to create stuff on the sides. I think they just recently spotlighted a new Doghouse Rules publication. Doghouse Rules is one of my favorite publications out there because it's my contact, not a friend yet, but I'm sure he will be, Carl Kiesler, and you'll see his name all through all the Savage Worlds products, and I got to put a shout out to him. As a matter of fact, he's the one who wrote, he and his group are the ones that wrote Trailer Park Shark Attack, which is a blast. It's a kick in the pants. It's just good fun silliness, and that's what role-playing games are all about. Well, going back to 2012, I did miss one more Deadlands plug-in here. In 2000, they did Deadlands Lost Colony. Basically, they said when the Ghost Rock bombs dropped on Earth in 2085, it severed a wormhole tunnel that went from Earth to another galaxy that's like 130,000 light years away. So it's way far out there, and that's called, funny enough, Far Away. And that's what Deadlands Lost Colony is. Now, for some reason, that was one of the ones they chose after original Deadlands, because they did original Deadlands. That was like the first rebooted setting that they did for Savage Worlds, and they did a few splat books and stuff for other settings. Like they did some Last Parsec splat books, and those were really cool. And just kind of setting the start mark at 2018 and moving forward, they did the salvage rules for Last Parsec, and that's really cool. And one of the major things that showed kind of the first changes that were already kind of moving in from Flash Gordon, and they made those changes to that Splat book, and it's a really good Splat book. And also, they did this Splat book. I just happen to have it handy at my desk because I was looking through it again. For Dawn of the Daikaiju. This one's really cool because you get to play as the Daikaiju. And one of my favorite video games when I was a kid was Rampage. I loved going to the arcade and playing Rampage. I think I'd usually play either Lizzie, the dragon, the kind of dragon lizard, or I'd play as the great King Kong dude. Or actually, I would play as the wolf too. I'd play as all three of them. I just give me a quarter, give me a nickel if it's at the Nickel Mania or whatever, and let me play it. I'll play Rampage. I'll play $20 worth of nickels on Rampage because I have so much fun doing that one. It's fun eating people and all that kind of stuff. It's just fun. But 2012 is when they did add in another piece to the Deadlands universe, created by the same guy who created Night Train, which is one of the most beloved adventures for Deadlands, original Deadlands. And his name's John Goff. And John Goff created Deadlands Noir for Savage Worlds, for Deadlands specifically. And Deadlands Noir, of course, as you can see from the cover, it puts it in the rainy, gritty streets. The core book puts you in the rainy, gritty streets of 1935 New Orleans. But the companion that I have back over there takes it so you can do 1927 Chicago, or you can do 1955 Hollywood, or you can do 1940s Salt Lake City, because those of you who know your Deadlands lore, Salt Lake City is it is the most technologically advanced city because of one of the Reckoners servitors being here, but it's one of the most technologically advanced cities in the entire Weird West. And on top of that, in the Hell on Earth setting, is when Salt Lake City becomes the junkyard, and that's why we're called the Junkyard Savages here. And we're just trying to put together the little company that is Junkyard Savages. So what I love about Deadlands Noir, though, is it has two things, and this is, again, another compliment to Pinnacle on how they pay attention to their books. Because in Deluxe Edition, you did not have what we're going to talk about today, which is now called networking. And that got added in to the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition because of Deadlands Noir. Because in here, there's a section, because being as it's a good noir setting, you got a thing in here about, in the social conflict section, which I think also was influenced by this, but is a thing on interrogations. Because, and while they didn't pull in like the things about patter and things like that, they did bring in the rules for interrogations and rename them to networking, because networking can be more than just the interrogations. Now, I'm going to get into that in just 1 second more. I do have to also plug this one more time, because on page about 92, I think it was one of my favorite sections of any role-playing game book. Was it 92? Or, no, where is it? No, it was 85, I think. But anyway, one of my favorite, yes, here it is, 73. Making Mysteries. This is one of my most favorite sections of any role-playing game book I have ever had in my entire life. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it can help you to roll up a mystery. But the thing is that mystery really is at the core of almost any role-playing game adventure. And making a mystery is what you want to do for your players. You don't have to make it complex. It can be like the line from that great Sylvester Stallone movie, Oscar, which if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. You need to see this movie. It is so funny. And I don't care what Sylvester Stallone says about it. I don't care what the critics said about it. That farce was the best movie Stallone has ever done. And I can sit down and watch it anytime. So anyway, in there, Tim Curry's Dr. Poole is trying to get Snaps Provolone to start sounding more educated because Stallone's going to buy his way into a bank, or Snap's provolone. And so Tim Curry, with it, of course, being British, but also being his attempt at American, he's like, Mr. Provolone. So anyway, he's sitting there in Snap's office, and he's trying to get him to say, "Round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged rascal rudely ran," which is a great warm-up for you game masters. And I recommend warming up before you start doing your gaming. I recommend warming up. Go through some tongue twisters. Go through some things, because you are presenting what you're doing. Now, Snaps just can't say it. He just can't. He's like, "Round the I just can't say it, Doc." And so that's when he tries a new approach, trying to get him to round those R's. So he says, "Rui the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts." And Stallone, he's a Chicago area gangster in the 1920s, so Deadlands Noir would work here. Stallone looks at him and goes, "Rui the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts." And Dr. Poole's like, "You did it! Of course! You finally came up with something that made some sense." So that's kind of why you guys need to see Oscar. And I can't remember how I got off on Oscar here. I'm just kind of having a brain reset, but that's still the setting and the feeling of, and that's actually where I was, and I remember now. Ha! So the reason why I brought up that statement is, okay, what if Rui the rum runner did rub out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts? There's your mystery. You plunk the guys right down in the middle. What about Rico's wife? What if she comes to your detective heroes and says, "Hey, my husband Rico didn't make it home last night. He left me some money just in case he didn't. So that way I could hire some detectives to try and find out what's going on." And that right there, you know what happened. Rui the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts. And that is your story. That is your plot. That is why I love Deadlands Noir, is you can get something like that out of there. So, that said, you get into the networking subsystem of Savage Worlds. Now, networking is really cool. Like I said, it's not just interrogations. It's not sitting the guy underneath a light, shining it in his face. "Okay, where were you on the night of..." No, it's not just that. It covers that. It covers beating the streets, and you're just putting the leather to the asphalt and walking around and talking to people, trying to find the information or the thing that you're looking for. And that can, if you want to focus more on the main story, that can be a really good opportunity for you to let players who have good persuasion or interrogation, those are the two skills that are used in networking. And hey, this is Savage Worlds, so if you have a player come to you and say, "I'm going to actually use my common knowledge, if I can, to do my networking because of this, and this," if they can give you a good reason to use another skill, then yeah, use that. So sometimes they have to find information, ask for favors, get things. So you can role play them, or you can just quick get them out of the way with a single skill roll. And persuasion is the nice way, and intimidation is the mean way, or the not so nice way. Now you can use these in different ways. You can throw some money out there and add +2 to your networking attempt, and especially if you're monitoring how much money is going on in your game, that's going to help you to be able to get what you need. So you throw out the money, you use persuasion, and if you get a success, you get most of what you want. It may take a while, cost some more, or require a favor in return. A raise gets you more of whatever you're looking for, or at a lower cost. Failure means that you didn't quite do so great. And a critical failure means that you're cut off from that particular group for a while, if not permanently. So, like I said, you can use money to kind of cushion that. But critical failure is a critical failure. You stick your foot in your mouth, you stick your foot in their mouth. And even your best persuasion isn't going to be able to persuade them. Now, on the flip side, you have intimidation, the not so nice way. That's your goon who goes around the neighborhood busting heads and smacking people down, smacking heads into tables at bars, things like that, to go, okay, where's he hiding? Where's he hiding the DA? And that's work in the streets, as it were. And it takes several hours, threats and general unpleasantness. Now, if you succeed, you get most of what you want, though your victims might decide to get some payback later. A raise means you get more info or get it faster. And your victims are too scared or anything to plot revenge if you get a raise. And as a game master, interpret those dice rolls. And I do have to apologize for last week, interpreting dice rolls. That was a good video, but I had one big problem, and that was my mic just suddenly zipped down to 10% of what it should have been picking up. So I'm hoping that the volume's better. So I have to start this back up again because I was in the middle of finishing it out, and I hit the stupid spacebar on my keyboard and stopped the video. Anyway, so if you fail, you don't get the goon doesn't get anything useful. A critical failure means you end up in the evening with a fat lip, a black eye, and a broken nose. Basically a level of bumps and bruises. And you can work the contacts again the next day, but they're more likely to be waiting for you this time. Now, you can improve your odds by getting a +2 on the roll, but by using a maneuver basically in here called busting heads. And that means that you do get, it's like using money when you're trying to persuade. Busting heads is what you do when you're out there getting violent. And it basically means that, again, a simple failure means you get bumps and bruises. Critical failure, that bears more serious consequences. And that might become an actual encounter, might be an ambush. The law might come after them, things like that. And they come back with 2 levels of fatigue and bumps and bruises, or they might come back with 2 levels of fatigues or bumps and bruises, and things like that. So these are the options that you are given when you do put in the networking setup. So think about that, and think about how you might be able to apply it to the story that you're trying to help your players tell. And think about also, especially when they're doing this, think about Rico the Rat. Think about Jimmy the Rat. Think about that high society person that you might want to persuade to say, drop a name of the thug who's been threatening her with blackmail, and she just can't bring herself to tell you, oh my, it's too titillating, or things like that. You can work those in and still role play them to a degree, but you can also make dice rolls and actually figure out how this is going for you. So that's all for networking, and I hope that it gives you some ideas on ways that you can better improve your gaming. And I just, again, want to thank you and thank everybody who's joined the channel. You guys are all amazing. And if no one's told you this today, I love you. You are amazing. And I really am glad that you are still here in this world, because this world is a great place with you in it. I hope to see you at my table.